Hey everyone, and welcome back to Learning English with Podcast. I'm Alex, and as always, I'm here with my wonderful co-host, Alina.
Hi everyone, it's so great to be here again. We have a fantastic episode today. We're going to dive into a topic that might seem simple at first, but it's super important for everyday conversation, learning English numbers and time.
That's right. Numbers and time are all around us, whether you're reading the time, checking prices, or even making plans with friends. Knowing how to talk about them in English is a game changer. Wouldn't you agree, Alina?
Absolutely, Alex. And the funny thing is, many learners find numbers and telling time a bit tricky. It's one of those things where we don't realize how much we actually need them until we're in a conversation.
Exactly. So let's break it down and make sure everyone feels confident using numbers and time in English. Let's get started.
Part 1. The basics of numbers.
All right, let's start with the basics. When we talk about numbers in English, the first thing we need to know is how to pronounce them. It seems simple, but it can get tricky with larger numbers.
Yeah, for sure. Take 20 and 30, for example. The TW and TH sounds can throw learners off a bit. So, Alina, let's go through a few key numbers. How do you say 21 in English?
21. Easy, right? But here's where it gets a little tricky. What if it's 42? It's 42, not 42.
Exactly, Alina. And remember, the pattern is pretty consistent. So once you get the hang of saying 20, 30, 40, and so on, you can easily say any number in between.
And don't forget about the larger numbers. When you reach numbers in the hundreds, like 100 or 500, they follow a pretty simple structure as well. Part 2. Ordinal numbers.
Now that we've covered the basics of cardinal numbers, let's talk about ordinal numbers. These are numbers that show position or order. For example, first, second, and third. Alina, can you give us a few more examples?
Sure. So, after third, we have fourth, fifth, and sixth. They can be tricky because of the th sound, especially in numbers like 20th or 71st.
Right. And you'll use ordinal numbers when talking about things like ranking, dates, or floors in a building. For instance, the event will be on the 5th of December, or my room is on the 3rd floor.
It's definitely a good idea to practice these because they come up in daily conversations quite often.
Part 3. Talking about time.
Let's shift gears a little and talk about telling time. It's such an important skill, and it's something everyone needs to know it.
I think the first thing we need to talk about is how to say the time in English. For example, it's 3 o'clock. This is one of the most common ways we talk about time. But of course, there are other ways to express time, like using half past, quarter to, or quarter past.
Exactly, Alina. For instance, it's 2:30 means 2:30. It's 5:45 means 5:45. These expressions are used a lot, so let's practice them a bit.
Definitely. Another point to note is how we use AM and PM when talking about time. For example, 7 a.m. means 7 in the morning, and 7 p.m. means 7 in the evening. Part 4. Military time and 24-hour clock.
Many countries use the 24-hour clock or military time, which can be a little confusing if you're used to the 12-hour clock.
Yes, absolutely. In the 24-hour clock system, 2 p.m. is 1400 and 11 p.m. is 2300. It's a little different from the way we usually talk about time in English, but it's important to know for traveling or when you're dealing with timetables.
Right? And in some situations, you might hear people say, 1400 hours or 2300 hours to refer to the time. It's pretty formal though, so you probably won't use it in casual conversation.
That's true, but it's still useful to recognize. And now that we've covered the basics of telling time, let's dive into a bit of a challenge. What do you say, Alex?
Part 5. Common time-related phrases.
Let's do it. Time-related phrases are essential, especially when making plans or talking about schedules. So let's go over some of the most common ones. How about what time is it? When asking for the time?
That's the most common question for sure, but there are other ways to ask, like, could you tell me the time? Or do you have the time?
Great point, Alina. And what about talking about when something will happen? I'll be there at 3 p.m. or let's meet around 6 o'clock.
And don't forget about the days of the week. People often say things like, let's meet on Monday, or I'm free this Friday. Part 6. Time zones and international time.
We're getting deeper now, but let's touch on time zones. This is especially important for people who travel or work internationally.
Yes, time zones can be a real challenge. For example, when it's 10 a.m. in New York, it's already 3 p.m. in London. So it's always good to know how to calculate the time difference.
Exactly. And remember, if you're traveling or scheduling a meeting with someone in another country, you'll need to adjust for the time difference.
That's right. So if you're setting up an international call, you might ask, what time is it in London? Or can we schedule this for 8 a.m. my time?
Part 7. Fun with numbers and time.
Now, let's make this a bit more fun. How about we challenge our listeners to do some quick practice? I'll give you a time, and Alina, you'll have to respond in words. Are you ready?
I'm ready. Let's do this.
All right, what's 3:30 p.m. in 12-hour format?
That's 3:30 p.m.
Nice. Okay, how about this? 9:45 a.m.?
9:45 in the morning.
Exactly, you nailed it. See how fun this can be? Practicing with real examples is such a great way to improve your skills.
Part 8. Quiz time. Okay, listeners, now that we've gone through all these important points, it's time for our quiz. We're going to ask you 5 questions. Write your answers in the comments, and we'll check them out. Ready, Alex?
Let's do it. Here's the question. Number 1. How do you say 12:15 in English?
Here's question number 2. What's the ordinal form of 21?
Great. Now, for question number 3, how do you say 1700 in 12-hour format?
Question number 4. What time is 8:30 in numbers?
And for the final question, question number 5, how do you say the number 42 in English?
We hope you had fun with our quiz. Don't forget to drop your answers in the comments below. And if you want to revisit any of the tips we talked about today, you can always go back to this episode and listen again.
That's right. Numbers and time are essential skills to have when learning English. Keep practicing, and soon it'll be second nature. Thanks so much for listening.
Thanks, everyone. We'll catch you in the next episode. Until then, keep learning and stay tuned.
Take care, everyone. Bye.
Bye.